Good morning, everybody. It's Sunday morning, and we have been living through 3 days of momentous history that's going to be talked about for the next 1,000 years. It all started Thursday afternoon when the news reports came out that the doctors were very concerned for the Queen's health, a call to the immediate family to go up to Scotland to be with the Queen. So we all knew it was very serious. And then come to find out, shortly after they must have been notified, Meghan puts on their website that the two of them, her and Harry, will be traveling up to Scotland, which at a time that everybody was, so worried, the palace planners in the background probably knew what was coming. It was, a pretty busy time, to say the least, of all the emotion going on. Meghan wants to come, throws them into a tizzy, and apparently it took Charles to tell Harry that no, a deathbed vigil for the immediate family is no place for Meghan Markle. Even Kate knew her place. She knew what was happening. She didn't go. I mean, in the papers they said it was because her kids just started school. Well, they have nannies for that. She could have gone if it was something that she absolutely had to attend, but even she understood that it was not her place to be there. So they get up there. Because of all this trouble, Harry arrives a couple hours after she had departed, and he didn't stick around very long. He was out of there heading to the airport at 8:30 in the morning the next morning, whereas the rest of the immediate family stayed at Balmoral to attend a church service of thankfulness or remembrance. I'm not sure exactly what they called it, at the little church there at Balmoral yesterday, and they did a walk around. Andrew was there as well, in support of his daughters, who looked quite sad, which is normal under the circumstances. They lost their grandmother. Andrew didn't get a really great reception from the people, which is understandable, but I mean, I think they were respectful under the circumstances, and I've heard things, oh, he shouldn't have been there, but to be fair, it is his mother, and I think rightfully he had a place there. So I don't begrudge him for going, but it was a little cringy because people didn't really want to shake hands with him. They didn't want to talk to him. So that was a little uncomfortable to watch, and I'm sure for all of them a little uncomfortable to experience. And then we've had the King's first address to the world, really, the King's speech. And I thought Charles overall did a really good job. He gave a loving tribute to the Queen, first as a mother, then as a monarch. He vowed to continue in her tradition of service. He explained how his life and his situation was going to change. He then went on to bestow some titles on William and Kate, first of all, as the Duke and Duchess of Cornwall. which means that the duchy passes from Charles's responsibility to that of William. He'll become the head of the duchy, and of course, all the income from the duchy will now pass to William, as it has been Charles's for almost 50 years. Last year in 2021, his income from the duchy was something around $20 million. All this now passes to William. As well, Charles made William and Kate the new Prince and Princess of Wales. I was really happy to see that. I think that's terrific, and that'll be good for the British people going forward. I think that'll give them a lot of strength, knowing that the future of the monarchy is in good hands. It was very interesting. He did reference Harry and Meghan, but he did not use their titles. He just said, I wish to extend my love to Harry and Meghan, who are continuing to pursue their life overseas, and that was it. Myself and a lot of people are hoping that that was a bit of a sign, a signal, that not using their titles, he's signaling that, yep, still love them, but they're not a part of the monarchy, they're not a part of the royal family, they're off to the side, you needn't worry about them anymore. So that was pretty interesting. I know everybody's calling for all of their titles to be pulled, the line of succession to be amended to remove Harry from that. And same with their children, if there really is kids. I mean, jury's still out on that one. We've never really seen them. But that's what we're hoping for in the future. Of course, nothing of the like would be said this soon anyway. The funeral, time of mourning, all of this takes precedent. He's not going to get into any of that right now, although we hope that in the future this is what'll happen. So, here we go. Meghan causes, in the, family tragedy, we all have to get to Balmoral. She stirs up trouble and causes everybody to scramble. And it doesn't end there. Yesterday, in their first appearance as Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Kate were to do a walk around up the Great. I think it's called the Long Walk, the large road that leads to Windsor, and it was lined with mourners, well-wishers. People just came out. They're coming out. They want to be a part of it. They want to acknowledge their grief and their reverence for the Queen. And who shows up with them but Harry and Meghan? They came in a separate car. Now, I've heard conflicting reports of how this was actually put together, but the predominant information seems to be that the palace aides, the palace planners, as I like to call them, were the ones that said to William and Kate and to the King, this would, optics-wise, this would be good if you included Harry and Meghan. There's also reports that Charles phoned William and said, please include Harry and Meghan. So we're not exactly sure how it came about, but the result was kind of interesting. So we have them there. The Fab Four, a lot of the news channels were saying, oh, look, we're, healing amongst a time of grief, and it's so good to see them back together again. But you look at the body language. William and Kate barely acknowledged Harry and Meghan. They could have been walking up the road alone. They weren't talking to them. They were keeping their distance. There really wasn't any eye contact. William and Kate, as they always do, conducted themselves with complete dignity, warmth to the crowd. They were shaking hands, talking to people, but they were walking perfect posture, perfect hair, absolutely dignified and regal, if you might. Harry and Meghan, on the other hand, oh my gosh, there are not words. I mean, I love it. H.G. Tudor calls it the grip of doom, and it's so true. Even in a situation like this, leading up to the Queen's funeral, they're doing a royal walkabout under solemn circumstances. She cannot keep her bloody hands off of him, clutching his arm, holding his hand, patting and rubbing his back. I mean, she was all over him. And so you have this great juxtaposition in the pictures of Kate and William walking about a foot or so apart, dignified, arms by their side, and Harry and Meghan bumbling along. She's clutching onto him with two hands. I mean, it was just, it's embarrassing. It was a horrible public display. It looked ridiculous. She doesn't know how to behave in public. And, it, you know, even at a serious occasion like this, something that, you know, your dignified sort of appearance should be what it's all about. No. And, you know, always that grabbing at him, holding his arm, holding his hand on his back. It's worse than just the grip of doom. Meghan is like that little dog when you go to visit somebody and it won't stop humping your leg, grabbing onto you, humping, and you try to shake your leg, you try to shake her off. We've seen Harry do it, try and move his arm, move a little bit, and she keeps grabbing right back tight. She's the little dog humping the leg. And finally, what you have to do with a little dog is just kick them. Not hard, but just to get them off of you. You have to push them off of you. But Harry, at least, is bred well enough that he knows that he can't make a public scene. If he did that, it would just be awful. So he has to tolerate it, but you can see in the footage he is, a couple times, they're trying to pull away from her. So that was really embarrassing and childish and immature, juvenile and stupid. You know, we have a royal walkabout with the Prince and Princess of Wales, and off to the side we've got the little dog humping the leg. It was just embarrassing to watch. And it didn't end there. There was a couple times in the footage, you know how they're walking along and they've got their security and the policeman behind them kind of moving them along, because all of these things are, you know, timed right down to the minute. So they're moving them along, and twice one of these guys kind of leans into Meghan and whispers in her ear from behind her to, like, let's get this moving. She turned around to him and just, like, blew him off, like, hey, I'm doing my thing, don't bother me. The crowds were polite. It was a solemn occasion anyway. There wasn't going to be cheering and clapping and waving, but people didn't look that excited to see Meghan. And a couple people she approached, they just kind of, okay. But, you know, she didn't get the loving reception that she thought she was going to get. Another very noticeable thing about Meghan's appearance, she didn't black up this time. I guess when you're out with Kate and William, it's okay to be a white girl. She's 3 shades lighter than she was 4 days ago. The way this woman plays the game and tries to pander to her audience is appalling. It really is. It really is. There's just not words for it, and I mean, we've got days to go until the funeral, and who knows what kind of appearances we're going to see from members of the royal family. I don't know all the itinerary, and we don't know for sure how much Meghan and Harry are going to be involved in all of this. Of course, they'll be at the funeral. Now, are they going to be seated beside Charles with William and Kate? Or as protocol demands, are they going to be a couple of rows back because they're not senior royals anymore? And what will Meghan's reaction to it be? I hate to say it. I really do. But even at the time when all the attention should be on Charles, should be on the Queen's memory and the funeral and dedication to her, I'm afraid, man, we're going to have that little dog humping our leg all the way, bloody way through this. Like and subscribe, and we'll keep watching. God save the King.